Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic for our weekly review preview show. Round 24, first up, New Zealand Warriors going down to the bloody Manly Seagulls over there in Brookvale, 24-10 in the end, 4 tries to 2. Shit, seems like I could almost replay this review show every week, and it'd be the same thing. Started out with a hiss and a roar. First 10 minutes, we're on the front foot. We had field position. We couldn't execute it. DCE kicks at 40-20 with so much ease. First set in, we get stripped and they score in the corner. Man, saw a lot of people commenting on how shit our edge defense was in that try, but to be honest, from my perspective, it looked like Chance was caught on the wrong side of the field. That play started on the Manly left-hand upright. By the time they got halfway between there and the sideline, they had a 5-on-3 overlap. Chance got caught on the wrong side of the ruck. AFB had a massive gap between him and Marata, who was inside him, and there was also another big gap between him and Luke Metcalf. We just didn't number up. We didn't get our structure right there. They just shifted it with ease, just making it look too easy. And a couple of the other tries were quite similar. I just feel like we didn't really hustle on defense. And in the end, they opened us up. I think was it Talau got that break through the middle there, and in the end, Turbo scored. Well, they ended up with a 4-on-1 where Chance had no hope. So I think that's our season to a T. At moments, we just proved that we're more than capable of matching it with these top teams, but in the big moments, we didn't step up. I don't know how many times SJ put in little grubbers on the fifth tackle, not even to find the end goal, just popping up into the defender's arms, spending, I don't know, 4 tackles, hitting the lead runner when we're in the opposition's red zone, and then we finally just put in a grubber. I don't know, the attack wasn't the same as it was last year. The couple of tries we got, though, they were well worked. It just makes you wonder why we couldn't do it more often, but shit. It's pretty hard to get up to do these, when you see the same thing happen every week. Players I thought went all right. I thought Sifakula had another relatively good game. I think he 15 tackles for no misses. It was a pretty good effort for him in a 20-minute stint, just to 4 runs for about 38 metres though. I thought Capewell played really well again. I think he ran for about 130 metres, so his work rate has really increased on attack there. Dylan Walker for about 160, but they did a good job in the middle. Paseka again tying up AFB and Mitch Barnett, both sort of running 130, 150 metres respectively. While Manly's middles didn't run for a heck of a lot more, they were definitely a lot more productive out wide. Some of the key things that stood out to me again, like looking at stats, for example, kick defusal, 89.5% for them, 50% for us. I think we're almost every game we've let in tries this year from being unable to defuse bombs. That's something that's a real concern for me. 12 errors. Granted, Manly had 10, but 12 errors again. It's just literally, it's not good enough. What else do we have here that stood out to me? Possession-wise, 53 to 47%. Completion rate, 80 to 75. That range was pretty full on, but still, some of our key players, Jazz with that knock on, trying to play the ball too quick. SJ throwing the ball to the ground. Metcalf knocking it on in contact, all right on attack with tackles to play. 7 line breaks to 3 was telling. I think that really shows that we struggle to create. What I like from Manly is they can create from a long way out. That try, as I said to Turbo, started on their own 40, shifting it with confidence, couple of changes of angles through the middle, but it's their guys hunting through to follow the guy who makes a line break. Freddie Lussick out of dummy half when we're on attack, ran for about 4 metres, had plenty of time to offload turn. There wasn't anyone within 10 metres of him. Just things like that. We don't have that person really hunting off the guys who are likely to get line breaks at the moment. So, shit, it's pretty hard to say much more than that. Than again, reflection on how our whole season's gone. And it just goes to show it doesn't really matter who we bring back in. SJ in the halves, Tamati in the halves, Chanel in the halves, Luke in the halves. We're still not able to light that D up, and maybe it is a reflection on us having to rotate the spine so much. But shit, that's pretty much all I'm going to get into for the Manly game. There's not a heck of a lot else I can say other than it's just really disappointing. Looking at the Bulldogs, so I've got SJ's last game, Sean Johnson Stadium. You've got Jazz, junior years in the Warriors, plus 9 years of first grade. Him finishing up. You've got AFB going after a couple of seasons. Interesting. I don't know if you guys heard SJ in his weekly interview yesterday saying, "Oh, it's a big occasion. It's not just about him. It's like Jazz. It's for Jazz. It's for AFB and the other guys who are leaving." It's like, what? Who are the other guys leaving? Got my kind of ears up whether that was just something he said without really thinking about what he's saying, maybe just meaning AFB and Jazz. But on that note, I haven't heard anything from him personally yet to confirm, but being mentioned there that he has signed a contract for next year with another NRL club, potentially Manly. Oddly enough, that's something I wouldn't have seen coming. They're pretty well off for middles, but I'm pretty happy for him if he does go there to go to a club that is going to be competitive. But we shall see. I'll try and get some confirmation from the big fella later on today, if possible. But I can understand if he wants to keep that quiet until the season is done with. So yeah, up against the Bulldogs, who are pretty much at full strength. And this, man, I feel like the boys will really want to get up for SJ and the likes, and the last home game of the year, pay it back to the crowd for all the home sellouts. But the difference between when we last played the Dogs and how they're playing now, I think they're light and day. They were a great defensive side against us last time, but shit, they've really started to light up their attack. Just the confidence to shift it wider. Josh Adokar, you wouldn't have thought he makes too much difference, but I just really feel like it's the halves and the centres who've just really found their rhythm. So I think we're going to struggle to contain their attack and their speed. A small, really mobile, energetic team. But I just really hope the boys can get up. Just looking at the two lineups here, we've got Chance at the back against Connor Tracy. Connor Tracy's been a bit of a revelation this year, fullback actually. Very much underrated by myself and a lot of other people at the start of the season, but he's turned into a bloody dynamo. Chance, as we know, like he's an absolute workhorse, but like I've mentioned it a couple of times over the past couple of years, that work he does on attack, sometimes I feel like it just leaves him a little bit gassed and he ends up in the wrong place on defense. Bit of a concern for me there. I really do wonder if we need a little bit more creativity at the back. It's really hard to be critical of guys in this side. Now, if I'm really honest, like Chance, I love that guy. I love the passion. I love the energy. But you look at a guy like Keeney and what he's doing for the Gold Coast, what you get out of a guy on attack like Tom Trbojevic. I feel like it is such an attacking position now in the NRL. And while Chance is, he's pretty good as a link man in our shape, he's not getting line breaks just through his own X factor, which is something that I think they might need to consider. RTS, would he do any more after the season he's had? I feel like he does. Just think about it as a fan, right? When you're playing the Knights, you're confident against the Knights, but you think, oh shit, Ponga. Or, the Broncos, oh, bloody Walsh, he's got ears in him, but he can just light it up. I don't think any opposition fans are sitting there, oh shit, they've got Chance, we're screwed. And not really anyone in our backline at the moment that would be giving opposition fans that kind of fear. So I wonder what they're going to do at the fullback position there. I note during the week a couple of rumours they're talking to Sean Stevenson. You wouldn't imagine he goes straight to fullback. Maybe he goes onto the wing or something if they ended up recruiting him. He's a big guy. He's pretty good on attack, but I haven't seen a lot of him. Apparently his defence isn't great. So, yeah, watch for Connor Tracy to be heavily involved in their attack. Then we've got Dallin up against Carraz. Carraz having a really good season actually for the Bulldogs. Dallin, to his credit on attack, has been relatively good, scoring the tries when they're there, but man, I just can't understand why. I don't know whether it's a Warriors thing or it's just our players that do it off their own back, the way they always jam in. Um, just one of the tries there, I'm trying to think of which one it was. It's in the first half. It's in the first half or the second half. We literally had 3-on-3. We had SJ, Pompey, then Dallin, and they had three. It was kind of like a little drift play, but Dallin didn't just trust that Pompey would drift and get his man, and the SJ would chase from the inside and then just stay on the wing on the outside. He jammed in. They skipped the centre straight to the wing, goes through untouched. Stuff like that's a little bit concerning. Um, so yeah, I hope he ups his defense a little this week. Adam Pompey, I thought he played well in the weekend. I really like that he's getting Finn going now rather than just running in with um, the Māori sidestep like we used to call it back in the day. He's getting a really good fend on. He's set a couple of guys on their ass up against Bronson Zeri. I always thought he's Cherry, but Zeri I think it is, who's been another revelation. First game back or first season back after 3 years, not even allowed to touch a football. Geez, he's been a beast. So that'll be an interesting challenge for Adam, but I think he can control him. RTS up against Crichton. Crichton's in some really good form. RTS not so much in the centres. But I think he holds his own. I thought we did a pretty good job at closing Crichton down last time. Montoya up against Adokar. Scares me a little bit because our wingers tend to stand in from the sideline a little bit if they go for a couple of shift plays. Adokar gets it with 15 metres between Montoya and the touchline. I feel like he can burn him. Man, what an effort by Hammer to run down Adokar in the weekend, though, for the Finns. That was a bloody good effort. So that one concerns me. Luke Metcalf up against Burden. I think Metcalf season entered all right. I don't think we could have expected too much more given how little footy he's played, but didn't really deliver anything that's going to be really scaring the Bulldogs at this stage. But Burton, man, he showed he's more than a kicker on the weekend. That step and then the speed to burn whoever it was he went past on the outside there to set up the try. Massive guy, 1.90 m. He's just got some serious wheels to go with that boot. He's really growing in confidence. I think Sexton inside him, directing play, just allowing him to focus on his strengths. Geez, he's come of age. Sean Johnson, last game up against Sexton. I'm not too sure about this one because sometimes, the homecoming game in COVID was the Tigers. SJ was, hugely emotional. I felt like he got up that day, but geez, I don't know. Uh, it's going to be a huge day emotionally for him running out there with his kids and so forth. I worry whether he can switch on and really start to nail his plays in the first 20 minutes. I'm sure he'll ease into it and finish well, but are we still in the game by then? I feel like we've got to score first and second to really give ourselves a hope. I'm sick of chasing games after the, really strong starts, but the first touch the opposition gets in our red zone, they score. AFB up against Curran, man. Um, if you can take his reported personality issues, some of the things that went on off the field at the club and not at the club away, you'd have to think we wish we still had him there with the way he's played this year. Man, revelation playing at prop, so much energy and the ability to put pressure on kickers and the like. He's been outstanding, but he'll have his hands full having to deal with AFB, but you just know he's going to relish that task. So AFB, I hope he has a massive game in his last game ever playing for the Warriors at Mountain Smart. Has one of those 250-metre games. It'd be a real shame if he kind of went off on a bit of a downer. Wade Egan up against Marnie. I'm kind of surprised Egan came back in, to be honest. Like I said last week, I probably would have finished him up for the season. He's had that elbow injury. I think was it even round one that he did it? I can't recall the game. But he's had it all season and sort of aggravated on the weekend. I'd be looking to give him, a month off to try and rehab that, get it fully right so he can come into the preseason fully fit and ready to charge. Also give the brain a bit of a rest, but Webby obviously, really wants to win this game and finish on a high at Mount Smart. So Reed Marnie, man, he's been another player who's been really good this year. Most tackles, he's been known for a miss in the past, but geez, regularly making 60 tackles, so annoying. Um, he's got a good kick on him as well. You guys might know I put up that post on Insta and TikTok the other day. If you could ask Webby one question, what would you ask him? There's a lot I'd love to ask, but one has always been like, why doesn't Egan kick out of dummy half? So anyway, it's good to see him back in there. I hope he has a big game and hope he stays safe with that head. Mitch Barnett up against Hughes. Yeah, Hughes, another one of those Bulldogs, like bit of a no-name, but he's just really grounded out this year. So I feel like we can match them in the middle there. On an edge, Marata up against Kiko. I'm a bit frustrated how we just constantly keep hitting those, dumping it off to the lead runner with Marata and Capewell rather than trying to get a bit more shape going there. But to his credit, he's just kept running hard and tackled hard, but has struggled to have the impact that I would have hoped from him. Kiko's really starting to get back into his game, so that'll be a handful. As I said the other day, from last week, Kurt Capewell, I feel like he's just come back from Origin and taken his game to the next level and shown that he is the guy that Webby obviously identified and brought over here. A few fans had a few questions when he's playing injured, but Preston, man, he's another guy who's really developed over the past couple of years. So he's almost like a young Capewell in the way he plays. He's a grinder, he's a workhorse, but he's got all of the skills of a back. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Then Dylan Walker up against Kurt Mann. Kurt Mann, another guy who's just like really just stepped into the Seraldo structure and excelled this year. Dylan Walker, to his credit, though, he's really stepped up and put in some work while Tohu's been away. Really curious to see what happens with him over the coming weeks. Obviously they've denied the move, but who really knows what happens once the season's done and dusted. 1st of November, I'd be surprised if he extends out with us. I'd be expecting him to sign for at a minimum 2026 somewhere in Sydney to be close to his whānau. Onto the interchange, Freddie Lussick, Chanel dropping out. Interesting. Up against Hayward, man, that's a guy that's the kind of guy I want us to get. He's such a good industrious player. You can just see that he's going to be a guy like Plath and one of those guys. Absolute workhorse. Not a huge amount to him, but just never stops. That said, I think Freddie Lussick played pretty well in the weekend. He topped the tackling for us. His pass has definitely improved. He's getting out of dummy half. Tom Arlett, he had a pretty good game. A lot of people were quite happy with what he delivered. Ran for over 100 metres. A few misses on defence, so that's something he was priding himself on last year, 100% D. Up against Curtis Morin. He's another guy. There's nothing to him, but he just smashes people. Comes on with the energy of someone like Jazz as well. Then we've got Jazz up against Hughes. Hughes is again just another workhorse. I'd never even heard of him before this season, but he just keeps coming and doing a job. And then finally, you've got Dimitri Sifakula up against Salmon, who's another guy who just comes on and does a job. I'm glad Sifakula's had these games in a row to really start to build that motor up. I'm keen to him to see if he can kind of impose himself on the smaller pack. They're pretty mobile, but he's pretty athletic. So I'd like to see both him and Jazz really start to knock some guys over early on in the game and put them on the back foot. But once they get on, that is. So you'd think pretty even for the benches this week. In the reserves, we've got Chanel, Leka, Tain Tuopiki, Ed Kossi, and Bunty Ahoa. Can't see any changes unless someone's injured. The only one, maybe the question mark is over Egan. If he drops out, then obviously Lussick goes into hooker and Chanel comes in to 14. Shit, guys, I mean, you know me, I'm a positive guy. I always try to look at the positives of the Warriors, but shit, I feel like we're going to have to play a game that we haven't seen from the Warriors since probably the Brisbane game, if we're going to get up and get this one, because you can just tell that the Bulldogs are building and building. I don't believe they're going to go all the way to a grand final this year, unless both the Panthers and the Storms lose a couple of people, but they're certainly going to trouble a few people, and they've gone way better than I expected. Like I said, I didn't feel, well, after we played them last time, I don't feel that like they had enough points in them to go deep, but shit, they've certainly lit that up. So Mount Smith, Mayfield, I really hope there's no blue seats here. Everyone does turn up. I hope they light it up. Seems like the weather's going to be good, about 15 degrees. It'd be bloody ironic if we end up going nuts and winning by 20 or 30 points. I definitely wouldn't be putting anyone's left nut on it. So yeah, all I'm looking for is a bit more fluidity to the attack, better options within the red zone, better shape, less of these little just dumping off to a straight runner, less of these little dribble kicks that don't even find their end goal. Let's test them. We've showed we can score, fantastic tries against every team we've played recently, just not enough of them. And switch on defense, guys. Switch on D. Do it for the home fans who've sold it out for every game this season. Congratulations to them for doing that. Right, that'll do me. Let me know what you're thinking. Are you happy with this team? Would you like to have seen more young guys in? I'm kind of okay with it. I can understand why Webby's done it. Got to try and get this last win, but what does he do next week? Hopefully he gives a couple of guys like Lecker, maybe Jacob Laven, maybe Zion, another guy like Setu too. I wouldn't mind seeing them get a run, but I probably don't expect them to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if the same lineup goes up. Right, let's go, guys. Get the win on Friday. I'm still trying to figure out if I can get up there for it. Really want to be there for Jazz's last game, but not sure. If not, I'll be watching it from here. Enjoy the night if you make it to Mount Smart, Sean Johnson Stadium.